I was right, and then also at the same time, I was wrong. I did a video about a week and a half ago, maybe even 2 weeks ago, I can't remember, stating that the Crow remake would bomb. And I projected that it would do slightly better than Borderlands. And I projected 10 million, I think. Or actually 7 million, I think is what I said. Or no, yeah, I said 10. Either way, I was right and I was wrong. I was right in that this thing was a flop. It is a glorious flop. Probably the flop of the year so far. However, I was wrong when I said this would do better than Borderlands so bad. Box Office Mojo says that the number. All right, this is going for the weekend domestic. So just in the United States for August 23rd through the 25th. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Deadpool and Wolverine is number one. Last week it was number two behind Alien Romulus. This week they flip flopped. A movie that has been in the theaters for over a month now. And it's still in 3,840 theaters. It's only got a 39% loss over last week. It made $18,300,000. Alien Romulus, number two, had a 61% drop, 61.4, and it's only made 16.2 million. The number three movie, that's right, It Ends With Us, starring Blake Lively, and there's been some marketing hoopla around that. I won't get into it. You got the director talking about how it's a love story and a redemption story, and then you got Blake Lively out there going, I don't know what this guy's talking about. The movie's about domestic violence. That movie, 11.850 million, so barely behind um, Alien Romulus, and it has a 50% drop. Coincidentally, Alien Romulus was in about 100 more theaters than either It Ends With Us or Deadpool and Wolverine. Blinked Twice, which is new this week, 7.32. Well, I'll give you the full figure: $7,323,661 out of 3,067 screens. The average per theater, $2,387. The Forge, which is that new Christian movie that came out this week, $6 million or $6,600,000. 1,818 theaters. That to me is impressive. That tells me that you had a lot of people going back and watching it twice, or you had a lot of church groups going. Twisters is number four. Notice we still haven't gotten to the topic of this video yet. Twisters, $6,200,000, only a 38% drop. That had the least amount of drop out of anybody in the top seven. Number seven, Coraline, a 15-year-old movie. Coraline made $5,006,175. Only a 49.1% drop from last week when it was in limited engagement releases. And it averaged about $3,520 per theater. Then number 8 is The Crow. Number 8. I did not go see it. I thought I did a video talking about how I was going to go see it, and at the last minute, I said no. I didn't want to take my kid to go see this. I really did not want to go. I mean, I was going to go see it to go laugh at it about how bad it would be. But I watched the night before we were supposed to go on actually it was Friday night. They were showing the original on one of the HBO Showtime gimmick channels that I get through my cable provider. And I turned it on and watched. It was about halfway through the movie. It was right when he kills Fun Boy. And I was like, I can't go watch the remake. In my mind, that's when I made my decision that I really did not want to go see it. But The Crow, you ready for this number? Now keep in mind, seventh place, which was fifth last week. Coraline, a 15-year-old movie, animated movie, in limited engagement. My son and my stepdaughter went and saw it last weekend. When it was in limited engagement, they had to go travel 45 minutes away to Greensboro, North Carolina, because the theater where I live at was not playing it. Incidentally, it was playing it this week. 5.6 million. The Crow, in eighth place, lost to a 15-year-old movie. $4,600,000. This movie did half of what Borderlands did on its opening weekend. What was it, 3 weeks ago now that Borderlands opened up? That is insane. It was only in 2,752 theaters because a lot of theaters knew it was going to bomb and they didn't want to waste their time on it. Only averaging $1,671 per theater. That's crazy. Now round out the top 10. Despicable Me 4 still made $4,400,000. It only barely, The Crow barely beat Despicable Me 4, which is in its, which was sixth last week, according to Box Office Mojo. And then number 10 is Inside Out 2, which made another $2,100,000 and only saw a 39% drop from last week. That movie is made $646,311,114. It's going to hit $1 billion by the time you factor in streaming and all that, of course. But The Crow, Borderlands is already. Speaking of Borderlands, there is a rumor that which Borderlands finished in 13th this week. Saw an 80% drop over last week. But there's a rumor that Borderlands is already going to be hitting digital before the end of September. I said it before and I will say it again. The Crow will be on digital well before Halloween. Well before Halloween. This movie, they were already saying that because of the previews, which is the Thursday night screenings that they call those preview screenings, theaters were already dropping screens for The Crow, because usually what happens is a theater will open up when a big tent pole movie comes along. Let's say it's a 12-screen Cineplex. They will usually take about 3 screens, if not more, and dedicate those for the big hot movie coming out. I can remember my movie theater, my local movie theater, which has 12 screens. When Avengers Endgame came out, about maybe 6 of those screens was dedicated to Avengers, and then the other 6 were dedicated to whatever else was coming out. So what happens is, let's say they dedicate those 6 screens. After Thursday, they figure, okay, that's the big rush. Then we'll take about out of those 6 screens and they'll reduce it down to about 4 screens, because they figure, okay, they blew their wad already with the Thursday night deal. Well, after the Thursday night previews, theaters that were surprisingly dedicating more than 1 screen to the Crow remake reduced it down to 1 and cut their show times. because they knew it was gonna. They based off Thursday alone. They're like, nobody's coming to see this piece of garbage. And from what I read and from what I've seen, it is a piece of garbage. This movie is a piece of garbage. It's going to flop. It should have never been made. No, it has been, you know, throughout the years, the last actor from Bradley Cooper was going to play him at one point. The last big name actor that I heard that was signed on to this was Jason Momoa. If you remember correctly, there were screen tests out there that leaked online with Jason Momoa in the Crow makeup, in the Crow costume. He looked badass. But alas, they yanked it out from under him. And the guy who directed Snow White and the Huntsman somehow got Bill Skarsgård to come on board with this horrible remake. The guy who directed Snow White and the Huntsman, who was known for having an affair with Kristen Stewart while on that set of that movie, which broke up her marriage, or broke up her relationship to what's his face, the guy who played Edward in the Twilight movies. That's what broke them up. This director is responsible for that, folks. Well, one of the parties. It takes two to tango. Anyway, it flopped royally. Nobody wanted this. Nobody asked for this. For years, it's been in development hell because they knew that the shadow of Brandon Lee loomed over this movie and that nothing was going to be able to live up to that. This was Brandon Lee's legacy. This was the movie. The original Crow in '93 was the movie that was going to make Brandon Lee, push him into the upper echelon, as they say, and make him a star. And the fact that he got killed on the movie did play into a lot of the reasons why it is such a classic, into a lot of reasons why it made so much money back then. That if he had not died, I don't know if it would have been as sentimental. If Brandon Lee, and everybody, from the director of that movie to the girl who played Sarah to Ernie Hudson, the guy who played the cop in the movie. Ernie Hudson did an interview not too long ago stating that Brandon Lee, in his opinion, is the Crow and will always be the Crow, and that there should not be another remake. He came out adamantly against it. And now, everybody who was in saying, "No, we can remake this," I hope people are learning their lesson. Because we got a Nosferatu remake that stars Bill Skarsgård coming out at Christmas. Who's gonna go see it? Well, I would go see a vampire movie at Christmas, but still, that's gonna bomb horribly. Nobody's talking about it. I wonder if maybe this is the year that Bill Skarsgård's career goes by the wayside because he's involving himself. He did a very good job with It and It Chapter 2. But I have to wonder, is this the year that he gets too big for his britches and realizes, dude, you've done lost it with all this. You took too many crappy projects. So I'm going to get off here for the day, guys. I got to go over here to Suffolk, Virginia, pick up a load, take it all the way up to Pennsylvania. Then I'm taking a load from Pennsylvania, going all the way out to Illinois, Edwardsville, Illinois. So remember, if you see a big rig on the road, do not tailgate us. Give us lots of room out here. Let us over if we need to get over. Use your turn signals. Go the speed limit. If you can't see our mirrors, we can't see you, and we will see you down the road.